Welcome back to the Football Terrace. It's Monday morning. I'm joined by George and KJ. Jamie's actually on holiday this week. He'll be back with us next week on the show. Loads to talk about today. A Baleba bid expected by Manchester United, according to reports across Europe. Plus a big update on that from Fabrizio Romano for you. We're talking Isak to Liverpool and these big lies that have been told. Big lies, Liverpool fans, about your football club, about the situation. The Geordie media, for me, I'm going to say it, my personal belief, so I can't be sued. It's a personal belief I hold. It's not an accusation, okay, is they're misleading everybody. They're misleading everybody. It's a falsehood. They're charlatans. We're talking Arsenal and their need for Eze as well. Another brilliant performance from him yesterday to go through as well. The big transfer news, though, today, Savinho to Tottenham. We're getting into that as well. We simply have to. So good morning to everybody in the Football Terrace community. Welcome to everybody that's come over from the United stand this morning as well. Great to see you all here. But KJ and George, first of all, how are you both?
Yeah, doing good. It's been last week was a good week for Man United fans. You know what I'm saying? And I will refuse to let a preseason game send me into flipping panic and meltdown because it wasn't the best game that we've ever played. I don't care, man. We signed Sesko. We're looking at Baleba. We're looking at Donnarumma. I'm a happy guy, man. Let's go.
Me? I'm very well.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, good. Yeah. I bet you are this morning.
I don't even want to... Me, I'm feeling too nice this morning. Like, I woke up and I see the news. I saw that little Savinho. I didn't see it last night like most people. I saw it this morning. So I jumped out of my bed. I was like, yo, now we're talking business, you know.
Yeah.
Troops love say, take your time with it. Arsenal take their time with it, and you might have got a good player. You get Madueke, we get Savinho. So I'm liking the way Spurs are moving in this window. I've been getting on Spurs a window, but I'm here for it. Daniel Levy might have won. He might have reeled me back in.
Trying to get out, but they drag me back in. No, I hear you. Listen, and that's what football does to you. And it's, you know, like United fans kicking off at the weekend because we didn't win. We go and we sign Baleba this week. We go and sign Donnarumma. We beat Arsenal, and the world will change. But I do want to start off very quickly with a Man United point. We're going to get on to everyone who's just tuning in. We're going to talk Baleba. We're talking Højlund. We're talking Rodrygo to City today. We're looking at the Isak lies, Arsenal Eze. We're going to do Savinho to Tottenham as well. We want to get into that early. But I want to play a clip that I put out when we signed Šeško last week, because I have to say this. I don't do this a lot, but I'm doing it today. I have bit slapped Sky Sports all over the place this weekend. Take a listen to this. And £66.3 million is the fee. And I wanted to say this to the Manchester United fans watching. That's going to be put into euros, as we've seen. It's going to be put into dollars. People are going to put their add-ons in and might add a bit of VAT and start talking about 80s. And what they'll then do is they'll go, well, actually, they'll look at that fee and they'll say, well, it's 76. But what we can also do is 76. But what we'll do is we'll add the add-ons. So let's get the money. Let's get it there. So we'll get 76.5 plus 8.5. Well, it comes to 85 million euros. What they'll then say is we might as well round it up to 90. He'll be quoted by them. I can guarantee you this. There'll be the Paul Mersons and the Jamie Carragers of this world and everybody else that will say, they'll say this. They'll go, he's an 85 to 90 million pound player. No. Let's nip that in the bud now, Manchester United fans, and the honest supporters of other clubs, which I know that my community here, the Football Terrace, promotes, and I know the United stand. I know a lot of you join from the United stand. I know you promote this as well. The honesty. It's a £66.3 million fee. There is add-ons, yes, that are achievable, but they're still add-ons that will only be realised with performances, goals, etc. It's not an £85 million deal. It's not an 85 to 90 million pound player. It is a £66 million deal. Similar fee to what we paid for Mbumo, similar fee to what we paid for Cunha. And this is what Sky Sports put out just at the weekend here. You can see this, Jen. This is me. We're live again now, people. They're calling it a £73.7 million deal. I quote tweeted it. I just wanted to put this out there. Thank you to everyone who shared it. Over 2.5 million views on my tweet. Community notes now on Sky. They add in the add-ons before they've even been there. And some people go, they always add the add-ons. Then you must specify that it's add-ons. Every time with Man United, our add-ons get included without there being a little bit of a sign. I guarantee you, but I guarantee you when you hear it next season, you're going to hear 85 to 90 million. They'll drop the word euro. They'll round it up. Just wanted to point that out there, that we told you on the Football Terrace, and I know Mark on the United stand said this too. They will not quote it what it is. It is a £66.3 million deal, 70s and 80s and all that nonsense. United fans stand up, and people say, "Why do you care?" I tell you why I care, because the mainstream media, they're not football fans bantering each other. Jules can do it all he wants. He's a football fan. They're meant to be the news. They're meant to be impartial, and they're meant to give us the facts to within the best of their knowledge. They don't do that. They twist, they lie, and they manipulate, and it's a fucking disgrace, and I'm sick to my back teeth of it. So, yeah, I want to just call that out right at the start of the show because it's ridiculous that they're still doing this in 2025. But they don't do it for everybody. Which is the strangest bit, you know. On Sky during our preseason, George, they were showing our transfers in dollars.
I was going to say, because I saw that. That's what I noticed. And that's the strangest thing for me is like, with Sky, for one, when we're England, Sky Sports UK, I care about the fee in pounds. Nobody here watches the news and wants to know dollar fees, euro fees. Do what you need to do and put it in the pounds. And when I saw a fee, was it I don't know if it was Mbomo.
The Mbomo deal was like $90 million. $90
million or something. And I was like, huh? And I saw the asterisk and then the asterisk next to a couple of other fees. But I didn't see it against Man United. And I'm thinking, these guys are really running their agenda. Like, Man United has spent all this money. And I know what they want to do. You know, Man United finished 15th, but they still somehow managed to spend 300 million and they're trying to make the things. But at the end of the day, the real football fans know the right fees. So we know what you're trying to do. But more than anything, they're making their credibility go down further and further to a point of when you're no longer viewed as, and to be fair, over the last couple of years, nobody goes to Sky Sports to break the news of a transfer anymore. Like, we don't wait. Before it used to be, you wait for that yellow line at the bottom of the screen, this transfer is complete. And then it was like, okay, the deal's done, Sky Sports have done it. Nobody goes to them no more. Nobody waits for that notification. I deleted the Sky Sports app.
Slow sports news, bro. Slow sports news. I agree. That's what it is.
People, just, as I say, like I want them to report it properly. They still use net spend. I saw them using net spend the other day, which is an abomination because they're the same people that will sit there and do like a 10-minute segment on pure profit, but then also use net spend. And those two things they don't work alongside each other because, again, they don't take, like, for instance, this summer, even if Man United spend £300 million and only raise 100 million in sales, what they're not factoring in is that nearly every single player coming in is earning between 50 to 60% less than the players leaving in salary, which means we're saving so much money in that space. Other clubs might have better net spend, but their wage bill has gone up by 50, 60, 70 million pound a year. That all matters because it's all, and they need to, what they should be doing, and this is why they annoy me. They have the money and give me their money and their budgets and watch how us fan channels operate on an even different level. They need to be educating fans, telling us what the facts are, not the lies. Then their pundits will be produced to start inflating the prices more. And by the time we're halfway through the season, if Šeško's doing well, it won't happen. If he's struggling a little bit, it will be, listen, we expect more from a player. What was he? 80, 85, 90? He's up there. He was really, really expensive. And they'll put it in euros, they'll round it up, and they did it the media when we were bidding for it. Oh, it might cost 90 million euros to get him. 90 million euros sounds so much more expensive than 66 million. And that's why they do it. And I just think it's wrong and it should be called out. Terry, fans actually don't care about the financials. Only the dumb fans, only thick people, only stupid people, only low IQ people don't care about what they're
and twisted. If that is the case, I don't want to ever see you, my friend, ever say, well, your player costs X amount of money and he's rubbish. Don't you ever say that.
He does it all the time. So, yeah, you're a liar, bruv. You're either a liar or low IQ when you say the money don't matter because Man United spending has been ridiculed by every single rival. In fact, all summer we've heard, how can United afford to do this? I thought they were finished. I thought fans didn't care about the money. Lies. But I just wanted to call that out at the beginning of the show. Loads more to go through, so make sure you're staying with us. Welcome to everyone who's joined from the United stand this morning as well. Big up to that brilliant community over there. Look, before we actually get into the Spurs news, it's the first time I've been able to drop this live, so I'm going to do it. Let's go. We've had a here we go. Jack Grealish has joined Everton. Here we go on a loan deal with Manchester City. The medical is booked. Grealish said yes to Everton's project and is now set to complete a loan move for the next in the next 24 hours. So just a loan for a season, doesn't appear to have any obligation or option to buy as of right now. But is this a good move for Jack?
It's the only move for Jack because it's the only club that wants him. Like we need to. Okay, listen. You know, Jack, Brommy boy, played for Villa. I have a soft spot for him. I supported him when he got to City. I wanted him to do well. He's won the treble and all that. Good for him. But let's just actually talk about the elephant in the room. That 100. We're talking about funny. We're talking about financials. He's probably the worst 100 million pound signings we've ever seen. And I know there's not many, and I know most of them aren't good. But he went there, did the bare minimum that a player should do for a team, got a treble, which is cool, but then he's been drunk for 2 years doing niche. He's been injured, he's been hungover, he's been barely playing football, but he never gets mentioned. He never gets talked about. His exploits never seem to break past 1 day's worth of coverage. When he's crashing his car and showing unprofessionalism in the game, it's like 1 day's talking time. But you got other players at other clubs who do less than him, and apparently it's months worth of abuse and coverage. They go out to buy bread. Oh, ex-player buys bread after his team's lost. It's a disgrace. It's been an absolute disgrace. And Jack, I've been disappointed with Jack because you're supposed to go to Man City for the money you went for the hype that you had. You're supposed to go to Man City and show the world what you're made of, and he failed to deliver. And the fact, you know how I know he failed? It's the excuses Man City fans made. He's forced to pass back because Pep tells him to pass backwards. He doesn't take on players like he used to at Villa because the system dictates that he needs to pass sideways when he gets the ball. But we've seen Doku, we've seen Savinho, we've seen Oscar Bob. Heck, even flipping Bernardo Silva has taken men on more in this City team than Jack Grealish. And yet, he gets told he has to pass backwards, and everyone else is go run at your man. Nah, man, it's been poor. It's been a poor time at City. It's been a terrible signing. He has been a flop, in my opinion. And Everton is the only team that wants him. Go do it. Go play football. Go try and earn your spot back in the England team. He's doing the right thing. But we can't just sit here and say, it's fine because it's Jack Grealish who won a treble. Like, no. Like
I agree with that, George. He's also a player that was on £300,000 a week. And yes, he won trophies and he had some good spells. Do you think his time at Man City has been underwhelming for a player of his ability?
Yeah. I think, do you know what it is? Because we actually saw it would, if he came from abroad and then done it, I feel like people would probably accept more that he was decent. But we saw Grealish from 16 years old. We've seen him build his way up, become the player that he was at Aston Villa, being out, sort of the player that we look to Eze be at Crystal Palace now. Grealish was doing that 18, 19 years old, the Maverick for Aston Villa, putting on the armband, you know, creating all their goals. He got relegated with them, but brought them back up. It was like he'd done all these things at such a young age that he had such an expectation going to Manchester City that he would potentially be the face of City, you know, because at that point when he made that move, or it was around the Euros, wasn't it, or COVID times, Euro 2020, 2021, you could say, taken place, and he'd lit up the Euros. Everybody is thinking, yeah, Grealish, this is the Grealish that we thought was going to move. This is the guy, and we actually thought that he was going to be the next star. And it was just like, as years went on at Manchester City, I don't know, maybe complacency sets in. I feel like maybe he got surrounded by so many good players that he got comfortable to the fact that maybe I don't need to carry this team. Maybe I don't need to be the guy to do everything because I know I can rely on De Bruyne. I can rely on Phil. You know, young old Phil, he's coming through. He'll help me out. He's going to score some goals. He's going to have some big moments. And that's the thing. I think he went from being a big fish in a small pond to being just a fish in a pond. Like, you're just one of many. So it's one of those ones where he's definitely been underwhelming, but the quality of talent he has is he'll go to Everton and he'll be the main player at Everton now. They will build around him for the next season. And even when you talk about those fees, 12. That's, I think, 300 grand a week's like 12 million across the year. That's a massive chunk that even if Everton don't pay City nothing, they're basically just paying his wages. That's 12 million off the books.
Yeah.
That's huge for Man City.
It's massive for Man City. I think he'll be a hit though at Everton. All that being said, I think he'll be a hit at Everton.
Yeah.
I think he'll have more space. He'll have more time. He'll be given. David Moyes will just say free roll.
Yeah, put him in the
David Moyes will just say, you'll be the maverick. You can be the main guy. Take people on. You know, do your thing. Some players, listen, he had a good City career and he did win trophies. Do I think he was influential in winning those trophies? City fans always talk about the treble winning season and a good spell that he had. Fair enough. I'll give you that. But I think overall, for £100 million and 300k a week, he didn't deliver enough. When I look at the stick that Bruno Fernandes gets, when he's carried a club on his back for 5 years, has also won trophies, but has been integral in winning them, has been our only real consistent player. Had his own inconsistencies too. When I look at the stick he gets at sort of 57 million, and then I look at the fact that, but this is also what happens when your club is winning and your club is succeeding, is that you don't look. And this is why when I've watched United fans overanalyze our fringe players like Lingards and McTominays, etc., over the years, it's always made me chuckle as a slightly older man that we had players of that level in the Fergie era, but nobody hated them because the team was winning. It's only when you're losing that you look at these players and you're like, I hate him and I hate him and I hate him. But yeah, look, good luck to Jack Grealish. I hope he does well. I hope he goes and smashes it and does the business over there. Look, we're going to come to the Man United news soon. We're going to come to the Liverpool section soon as well. But we'll kind of keep it on point here because City have now lost Grealish. And there's another player they might be losing, George. And this news broke last night. It's now confirmed the first bid has gone in. But Fabrizio put this out, an exclusive last night, that Tottenham Hotspur open club-to-club talks with City. The bid has now gone in at 50 million. Again, they're saying 50 million euros, which is just it's English clubs to English clubs. They're speaking pounds, please. It says negotiations ongoing between Spurs and City. Also understand Savinho is open to the move if the clubs can agree on a fee, which means he wants the moves if they can agree a fee. Thomas, the Frank engine, indicated that Savinho is an ideal replacement. Obviously, I assume he means for Son, who has left the football club. How excited are you, George, at the prospect of Savinho becoming a lily white this summer?
Very, very excited. I've spoken so much about, needing some Jogo Bonito at my club, players that I've had Brazilians before, but I ain't had real Brazilians. I've had Emerson Royale, had Lucas Moura, Sandro Ranier. These guys are Bolivians. They're just blending in as Brazilians. Savinho, he's even got Inyo at the end. So, this is a real one. This is a guy that has that real type of ball to him. And like you said there, a Son replacement. We talk about needing to replace players of top quality. We never replaced Kane properly. We've spent 130 million pounds on two strikers that couldn't even get you 20 goals put together, let alone 20 goals alone in Richarlison and Solanke. Now, if we go get Savinho, this for me is the proper Son replacement. Son was at our club for 10 years. We signed him at 22 years old, left at 32, and he's won a trophy. He's sort of had a very wholesome career, one of the best wingers we've seen in the modern era. And for me, looking at Savio, this is a proper deal to go done. When you talk about the money invested in it, they want what, 60 million pounds or in and around 60 to 70 million pounds all in for the fee. That's not too much. I feel like for this type of player is one where you're pretty much willing to overpay a little because you can see the quality. I know a lot of people are going to allude to, he scored 1 goal last season. All right. But I don't feel like he was used properly at Manchester City. If you look at his season before at Girona, he played all of his minutes. If not, some of them was an attacking midfielder, but the rest was all on the left wing. I think he played 35 games or so on the left wing. At Manchester City, the majority of his time was on the right wing, cutting in on his left foot. He's not that type of player. I think we get too woke in this new winger system that everybody needs to cut in. We need a winger that cuts in. What happened to just getting round to the byline and doing your job? Go old school. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing at my club. Kudus on the right, Savio on the left. This is taking me back to Bale and Lennon times. I'm actually going to see some proper wingers, going into the Champions League and seeing players fear our attack, because we all saw that graphic get put out the other week. Was it Premier League or Sky Sports the other day? They put who's the scariest attack. I didn't see Tottenham in that graphic, bro. I was thinking, yo, I come from seeing Kane and Son just drag us through every year who had the best attack in the league. Kane and Son put us in those graphics for time. That was the first time I got the realization, and I was like, yo, our attack is shit. Like, we're probably ranked 10th, maybe 11th. Like, we're hanging low at the moment. We're not even in the top 5, top 6. So bringing Savinho in, it gives us that extra push, and it's like, yo, good winger. He scored a lot of goals at Girona, so I can look at last year and see his creative ability. I think he definitely needs to improve in the final third, but I think that's what Frank is looking at. Frank is looking at Kudus, he's looking at Savinho. It's like, these are two players that they have the basics of a winger. They can beat their man, they can get down the wing, they can create. But what I need to do is make these a bit more better in the final third. And seeing what he done with Mbeumo, seeing what we done with Watkins and all these other players, I have no doubt that he'll be able to bring the best out of Savinho. So I'm really excited for this still. Really excited, man.
Yeah, that graphic, I'm gonna put it on the screen now because there was a lot of disrespecting. I say disrespecting that. I don't think Sky, well, they might have done it in disrespect, but yeah, this is the graphic. You've got Liverpool, City, Arsenal, United, Chelsea, and then someone else.
To be fair, like we've just been cussing off the Premier League / Sky Sports about how they report things. This is kind of accurate still. Who else would you make the sixth person? Because I actually wouldn't pick Spurs attack.
I don't know. They're right, to be fair. I don't think Tottenham deserve to be there, and I don't think there's any other team. I suppose if Isak was staying at Newcastle, it would be Isak's Newcastle there, innit? But again, there's no guarantee to that. So these are probably the 5 teams with the best attacks right now, and I can't complain. We need Spurs to improve it and show us something. And to be fair, I think that's probably one of the reasons why Savio's probably looking at it, because he's noticing, looking around. You got Marmoush who plays left, you got Doku who plays left. On the right hand side, you got Cherky, you got Silva, you got Foden, you got all these players that are above him in the ranking. He's probably not looking at that much minutes, so he's looking at this Spurs move and it's like, yeah, this is a team where I'm going to be probably one of the main attackers. They're going to build around, and plus you're going to get a lot of minutes. Now, I will sit here and accept the fact that Brazilians tend to use Premier League clubs as stepping stones. Now, I don't think he's going to look at Spurs and say, I'm going to be here for the rest of my career. I'm not silly enough to think that. He may think of Spurs as being the stepping stone to potentially a Barcelona or Real Madrid, which I'm fine at. I'm fine with being that club. If you give me your next 4 to 5 years at your best and really put it in, and I'm cool with being that, because I've got to accept where I am in the pecking order, innit? I'm not Newcastle who thinks because I've got money, I'm above certain man in the food chain. I know my role. And sometimes you got to accept it.
It's going to be interesting to see Savinho in Spurs, because one thing Spurs always has is they've got that creative spark in terms of their 10/wingers are creative. Look, Kulusevski, you got Maddison, you got Kudus, now you're adding Savinho potentially. Like, we know that they can be creative like that. It's the goal output I'm worried for Spurs adding Savinho in there, because you've got Solanke and you've got Richarlison who aren't the most prolific. They can have good seasons here and there, but they're not the most prolific strikers that you could have as a duo. Then again, Kulusevski doesn't score a lot of goals. Maddison is inconsistent. Who else did I just say? Yeah, Kudus could score a lot of goals, but it's about how he's used, right? So if we add in Savinho, it's not a goal threat. So I'm just wondering, Son has been scoring so many goals for Spurs over the years. I think George said it, one of the best modern wingers we've seen in the Premier League, and I agree, he's been absolutely top notch. So where are those goals going to come from, even with Savinho coming in? There needs to be, I don't know, some kind of change in that striker role, because Savinho is not a goal threat.
I think if you create more opportunities for Solanke, he'll score more goals. He's never going to do what Harry Kane did. Spurs may never have a striker as good as that again, because he surpassed Jimmy Greaves, and so I think Spurs fans always have to temper that in their minds, that Harry Kane, at least in our lifetimes, or at least for 30, 40, 50 years, might be the best striker you've ever seen. You can't use Kane for me as the measuring stick for how good they are, because he's an outlier if you look at every other striker in your history, barring Greavesy, God rest his soul. So I think that's important. But I think if you get more creativity, that will help. The only interesting part for me is this. City don't stand in players' way if they want to leave. That's why they've been one of the best clubs in the country for a long time. The only question mark I have is that normally City give players 18 months to 2 years. Is this the player deciding he doesn't like the style of football? it's too robotic, it's too mechanical, there isn't enough freedom? Or is this Man City saying he isn't good enough and we're willing to kind of let him go? They're not going to say that publicly. And if he is someone that they don't think is good enough, is it right for Spurs to buy them? Equally, if the player wants out, I want to know what's going on at Manchester City, because it's a little no one saw this coming. And I've seen City fans fighting it. And I don't have an answer to that question myself. It isn't rhetorical, but I almost feel like it is almost. I'm watching, there's that Stefan Borson who said, basically said, I'm not surprised by this. He's failed to deliver. I've seen big City fans like Ryan call him out saying, what do you mean failed to deliver? Saying this is a crazy move, we shouldn't let him go. City supporters seem to be really torn on this. Some saying, yeah, I've not been that impressed. It's a lot of skill and flair with no end product. Others saying he needs time to settle. So that's the intriguing part of this for me. My personal feeling is I felt this season was going to be a much better year for him from an outputs perspective. But if Tottenham want him, they want to play him on the left and he's in his sort of natural habitat, as it were, it's great. I suppose the only sobering factor is this could mean Rodrygo.
Yeah.
Manchester City. That's the only element where I'm like, they letting one Brazilian go. Could they be about to bring in an outstanding guy?
Yeah.
Again, so Spurs will be happy still. They're I think you get Savinho. Reading the news stories today, I feel like it's a dot on the cards to happen personally. Now I think you're going to get him.
Yeah.
It's about Man City. Do they then go and get Rodrygo?
Yeah, first of all, big up to the KG raid. I just saw it come through. People from KG stream, big up to you guys. We appreciate that. In terms of that though, the first point, I think it's just an opportunity. I don't think it's an indication that Savinho is rubbish or like he's not good enough for City. It's one of those ones where they've got all these wingers in. Obviously, they want to get rid of Jack Grealish, and it could have been Bernardo, it could have been Doku, it could have been Savinho. I think it could have been any one of those guys. If someone actually came in with a bid, which like Spurs have, I reckon any one of those guys would have been up for sale, and it just happens to be Savinho, the guy that's coming in, and he's looking at it as in like, right, these guys that want me, they want to make me a main player. As much as I like it at City, you got all these guys here. I don't know how much time I'm going to get. I'm going to take this opportunity. So I don't really think it's an indication of anything, to be fair. I think it's just something's changed. The situation's changed where someone wants you and you're probably going to go take it because the opportunity for you. In terms of Rodrygo, if City get Rodrygo as well, if they get rid of Grealish, if they let Savinho go and have Rodrygo on that left wing, it's looking a bit techie. Like people have been saying, City don't look the same or they're not going to be as good as last year. If they get Rodrygo, that talk needs to stop.
I can't even lie, KG. KJ, I already said that I think City will win in the league anyway. Even with Liverpool making all these signings, I've maintained I think City are going to win the league because Pep is Pep. Pep's been watching everything going around and he's like, no, let's have it right. I'll make things work and I'm going to do something. And that Savinho, being let go would be a big indication, especially Savinho and Grealish, that they're probably looking to potentially bring in a player like Rodrygo because they may be looking to go a bit heavier in their attack. They're probably seeing the moves that Newcastle, Arsenal are made. Everybody's signing goal scorers. Everybody's signing good players and improving their team so much. We need to maintain and try to do the same thing. So go get a player like Rodrygo would be right up Manchester City's alley. And you got to look at it like that. Like, they are out there. Look, seeing what all these other clubs are doing. They're not trying to fall behind. So I don't think it's a case of Savinho is a reject or they're pushing him away so early. I think it's just a case of we need to keep up with what our rivals are doing. We want to compete for the league this season. And as much as we think you're a good player, you're probably not going to play as much as we probably thought you was. We can't, and we saw the last couple of years and the last couple of transfer windows, they've gone really young. They've gone for unproven players to try and breed them through, but they've realized, look, we can do this, but it's going to take a few years for these players to catch up. We need something now. And just like we saw with Cole Palmer, they're willing to let him go because the player was open to leaving.
Yeah,
same case here.
And I don't think Spurs should be looking at this as, oh God, if we take Savinho, they go and get Rodrygo, that makes them stronger. You've got to focus on yourselves and what makes you better. And this isn't no disrespect. I know Spurs have aspirations, at least the fans do, of one day being as good as City have been. But you have to I'm a bit like that with Man United. It's this sort of view of as long as we're improving, I don't even care if one of our moves helps. Like if we sell Garnacho and that funds Baleba, I don't actually, if as long as we're improving and we're moving towards our goals, I don't necessarily care then if Garnacho goes there and does well and helps Chelsea. You help Chelsea. Yeah, but as long as my team's improving and we're moving, us and Chelsea are not in the same race at the moment. I know we're playing in the same league, but let's be honest, we're in a race to try and re-establish ourselves in the top half of the league and push towards European positions. Chelsea are in a race to try and win the Premier League. We're in different categories, and it'll be different when we move into the same category as each other if we're both fighting for the league, because I doubt that Spurs would be able to get Savinho if you two are going neck and neck for league titles and Champions Leagues. They'd turn around and be like, no. And it's similar with Arsenal when they gave them Zinchenko and Jesus, and I know they get criticized for those players now, but when they actually did those deals, those two players helped them go from a team pushing for top 4 to challenging for league titles. And then there was all those reports that City weren't going to give Arsenal any more players. And that's because they looked at him and went, well, now you're competing with us. Why would we help you? So it's important for fans to remember that. But whilst we've been live, people, we do have some more breaking news to bring you. Let's do it. This has just come in. Crystal Palace are understood to have lost their appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sport against UEFA's ruling and will play in the Europa Conference League next year, meaning Nottingham Forest will play Europa League football. Crystal Palace have lost their appeal and lost their battle.
It's a disgrace.
Gentlemen.
It's a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Listen, I know they might have had a mix-up or admin error with how they tried to prove that they were separate from Lyon and all these things. I get it. But this team worked so damn hard to win that FA Cup. They earned their right to be in the competition, and you're letting admin error come in the way of a team competing. They have now took the steps to go and prove that, hey, listen, we've done the things that you need to do. I know it was a bit behind schedule, but we've done that. I can't explain how they do it with the whole ownership sharing, holdings going into a certain trust or fund to show that, and then having people on the board that are different. Like they've done all that with them in Lyon. So the fact that they still can't get into the league after winning a trophy, this ain't because they came 6th or 7th or something. They won a trophy. They won silverware. And I believe they need to be rewarded with the prize that comes with it, which is Europa League football. And also, let's just not forget, Nottingham Forest, they've been so slimy in this whole process, trying to stripe them up, going into CAS and UEFA with, here's this proof, here's that. Like, guys, like, if Nottingham Forest had just left it alone and said, let the process be the process, cool, innit? But they've gone and tried and striped up Crystal Palace as well. And I don't like that. Like, I really don't like that. So, yeah, like I feel bad for Palace, man.
I don't feel bad. I don't. I'll be honest. I don't feel bad. I think it's a case of poor running of the club. The club was running it poor. They should have known that there was a possibility of them winning the FA Cup, and they should have submitted the details earlier and should have gone around the right way. And also, I'll be honest, the way that this looks to me is, I don't know if people have seen, Meatball Marinakis and John Textor are all, apparently they've got some investment going into Botafogo. So I think that this is all just stuff like, and obviously this is my opinion, like this is all like planned from John Textor. All this stuff there's too much going on. There's too much between the owners of Nottingham Forest and the former owner of Crystal Palace. They're all too close, doing too many deals. It seems like this clerical error, administration error, might not have been an error. It might have been put in place on purpose, because now Nottingham Forest are benefiting from it, and we're seeing they're going to be getting more money, and John Textor's all laughing and so on, and he's left Crystal Palace in a bad place. Obviously, Crystal Palace, like I said, they deserve to be in there by winning a trophy, definitely, but at the same time, the rules are the rules, and they knew the rules from the start. They knew this before they won the trophy, and they knew that would be the case.
Yeah, but George, think about it though. Think about it. You say, because there's a potential that it could happen, do it earlier. But do you know the implications of if they did that earlier and didn't win the FA Cup? What would that imply for their club? And that's the thing. Let's be real now. Did they honestly think that they would be winning the FA Cup?
Let's look at this though in the middle of it. So I get both your arguments. I think both of you have made really solid points. I actually and no one reacts until you let me finish speaking. Shouldn't have to say that, but toasted people be toasted people. I agree with George. I don't think the people at the very top of Crystal Palace, John, what is it, Textile, whatever his name is, right?
Yeah.
I think there could be something sinister. There could be something based on, well, we'll do this, you do that, you scratch our back, we'll invest here, you'll get this. I would not be surprised. That all being said, if this has been manufactured, if they've purposely done it, or even if they're just incompetent and they deserve it because they have broken rules, who I'm focused on, so this is why you shouldn't react to me, what I'm saying, the fans deserve it. And that's the element here that I'm so disappointed in when it comes to UEFA and the Court of Arbitration for Sport. The fact that we've had teams cheat and get off on technicalities in the sport, in multiple sports, by the way, get off on technicalities because the meat the meat has been contaminated 10 years ago in that area, or yes, there is this very minute possibility that eating 20 eggs a day would leave this chemical in your body and therefore you failed a drugs test in fighting. We've seen all these athletes and sports teams get away on these minor technicalities for most of us look like absolute cheating. They get off on a small technicality. They're not proven innocent because they can't prove beyond reasonable doubt they're innocent, but they get off on a minute technicality. For Crystal Palace fans to have this taken away from them, to be in the second highest and the second biggest European trophy that there is, to have that taken away from them because of a technical error made by one of their owners, there's something about that leaves a very, very sour taste in my mouth at all. Completely. There's something that's not right for the fans. That being said, and I'm always someone that likes to throw a silver lining in there. Oh, Terry's glazing Palace fans now. I think Crystal Palace can win the Conference League.
Yeah.
Don't think they'd win the Europa.
Yeah,
so what I will say is, and I don't want to sound like an elitist here. My mind isn't in that space. I don't think Liverpool's and Man United's and Chelsea's would take the Community Shield as seriously as a Crystal Palace or a Newcastle or even a Tottenham, who win less trophies by and large. I'm not saying Spurs fans will look at it and go, this is the same with the Premier League, or Palace fans, but I was watching the Palace fans celebrate last night. Didn't have the same tears as the FA Cup, but you could still see this, wow, we won another one, because they've never had it before. Going into the Conference League, there's a chance you win 3 trophies in 2 seasons, which for a club of Crystal Palace's size and history, that for me is the positive sort of the positive element of this, if there is one. And I think that's what they've got to move on to now. I think the worst thing you can do, fans, and I get Palace fans are going to be emotional. Palace fans are going to be angry. But what your team now needs is a little bit of, it needs to be, okay, we feel screwed. Let's weaponize that. Let's use it as fuel. And let's go out and let's prove, what you want to now go and do is win the Conference League and then hope that Forest go out in the group stages, the league phase, go out early rounds, and you go, wow, look at this. We won another trophy. That's what you've got to go and do now.
It's added that extra spice to the league now. You've got Palace now and Forest. Their games are going to be very heated, I think.
Mate,
it's a new rivalry.
It's a brand
everyone's trying to take Forest. I can't wait for that Forest game as well. I need to get one over on them, man. That Morgan Gibbs White, they're still hurting a little bit. Like, everybody wants to get one over on Forest.
But I agree. Palace should be one of the favorites to win the Conference League, if not the favorite. I don't think, unless, I don't know, for some reason, a team like of the level of a Bilbao
or something like that
is in there. But even so, we've seen them take on Liverpool. We've seen them take on some of the best teams in England and come on top. So I do think Crystal Palace can win the Conference League, and that will get them in Europa League again next year. So
the rivalry thing is important, because you got to remember, if you look at Crystal Palace and Brighton, I live in a part of Surrey now where you get a lot of Brighton fans near where I live, and you get a lot of Crystal Palace fans. I'm in that corridor, which is near the motorway, the M23. I thought it was a locality thing. I didn't realize until researching it. The rivalry stems from basically a handful of intense matches and some comments made by I can't remember his name now, one of the managers of either side, created that rivalry. I think we are, KJ, you're bang on. We are now on the precipice of what will become another, at least for the foreseeable future, another fierce, tense and toxic rivalry. And I'm not, listen, we've got the Manchester derby, the Merseyside derby, North London derby, Tyne-Wear derby. We've got United Liverpool derby, which is the biggest. You've got Man United Arsenal. You've got Chelsea Tottenham. We've got Brighton Crystal Palace, Palace versus Forest. And I agree. I think Spurs versus Forest is going to have needle. We've got so many and I'm forgetting some. I'm forgetting some. Like, there's more, right? But we're going to get some beautiful Spurs West Ham, of course. We've got so many great ties this year. Yeah. You know, Newcastle, Liverpool. What is that going to be like this season?
Yeah, that's going to be.
What is
Newcastle and Man United now?
Newcastle, Man United after after
all these little new ones that are made from the transfer window.
It's great, man. Man United leads loads.
Yeah, like you guys said, sometimes one step back, two steps forward, innit? You go into the Conference League, and you could potentially. Glasner has experience winning Europa League, but also going to that final as well. He went to the final before he did win it. So he's a manager that's experienced. I think they'll make them best of a bad situation. And just looking at their team and looking at the way this is played, it's upsetting for the fans. But they still get European football. They've never seen European football. So to be able to play Conference League, Eva, is still a massive step forward from where they've come. Just accept where it is. Blame it on the owners. Be mad at them, but just accept where you're at, make the most of this situation. Now you still get to play European football, and this one's probably a better chance of winning. So you may be able to see silverware furthermore, and it's a big thing.
Three trophies in 2 years would be amazing for that fan base. So go win the Conference League, man. Normally I don't really care who wins the Conference League. But this time,
I want them to go and do it. It's also them things you're also going to find yourself. I think most people in the country, barring Forest now, are going to want you to go win it, because I think every fans, we feel like, administration wise, I don't. It's like before. I never felt I didn't feel any sorrow when things went wrong for Mike Ashley, but I did feel for the fans, because fans don't necessarily deserve that. But look, viewers, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions on that in the comment section below. If you haven't hit the like button yet, get that done. 4,000 people watching this morning, which is amazing. Get liking the show. Make sure you're subscribing, but get those bell notifications turned on as well. Over 1,000 new people have done it recently. Just click on that little bell next to the sub button, but turn on all notifications on your phone settings for YouTube. Otherwise, you don't get sent them most of the time. And I know a lot of you will say, Terry, I don't get notified. YouTube can be a son of a gun, can be a little bit of an SOB. But if you don't have those settings turned on, you're not going to know. So go and get that done right now for us. Gents, obviously, it's been a crazy few weeks for Manchester United. There is a bid expected soon for Baleba. We're going to go into the story in a bit more detail. Fabrizio here has said that this weekend was important for Manchester United to understand more about Carlos Baleba and whether to move on to other targets or not. They remain in contact with Baleba's agents and are still thinking about the possibility. A further update, though, this morning has come out, and I want to read this as well. Fabrizio has now said that Man United will continue talks with Carlos Baleba in the coming days. It remains a tough deal, but they remain in contact with the agent and want to make an attempt for a deal. Manchester United are not giving up. So when you look at that news there, that yesterday it was they're seeing if they're gonna have to move on to other targets. Now the story is United are not giving up. They're going to remain in contact. I want to go to George first on this, because me and KJ spoke about this on other shows. Do you think a bid's going to go in? Although we all know it's difficult, it's been 3 or 4 days now. United is still pushing. Fabrizio here keeps talking about it, saying don't underestimate United. United are going to continue to push. The player was reportedly had his head turned and wants to join. How do you see this one playing out personally? Do you think there'll be that bid?
Do you know what? I'll be honest. This, for me, screams like a Frankie de Jong saga type deal, where the player may want the move, but I feel like the club's going to be very hesitant to sell him. If they do sell him, they're going to want above and beyond his actual price, which might be worth 85 to 90 million. I reckon they're going to want in and around the Caicedo money, maybe 110 million or something. They're definitely going to want more than what you paid for any of the other players. And I've just got a feeling Fabrizio's doing what he does. He knows with Man United fans, online, you guys have the biggest fan base. when he pins a little tweet for one of those Man United, when it was Sancho, before it was Frankie de Jong, he knows this saga, it'll reel everyone back in. Baleba, Baleba, Baleba. Everyone's turning those post notifications back on. So I think he knows what he's doing. I do think it is possible, though. I do think if Man United are willing to pay the money, the deal is definitely possible because Baleba will want the move. Brighton they're a selling club. We saw, I don't know if people saw their owners, they asked them why they love doing business with Chelsea. He's like, they're my best customer. You can't be mad. They're my best customer. And he's not lying. They are. And he's a man that's open to selling and willing to do business for the right price. And that's the way their club is run. So I don't think they'll ever block Baleba from doing the move, but they'll put a price that's going to be a lot. And it's whether Man United are willing to make that price and whether they're willing to put that bid in. Now, I think you guys will start off with around £8 million bid, test the waters, see what the response is. Is it, oh, give us another 20 million and we're talking business? Or is it, no, we're definitely not selling to you, stop bidding? I think you'll wait to see what that response is. But look, if Man United are willing to invest the money, the deal's not hard to happen. It's just if you're willing to pay what Brighton want, which we know is going to be a lot of money. But he's a damn good player. And watching Man United the other day, the glaring problem is the midfield. It's having a two-man midfield. You guys haven't got nobody that's got the legs to cover the ground, especially when you're playing Bruno in there. You need somebody that's going to cover all the space that he's leaving. But Baleba's that guy. Baleba is exactly that profile. So if you guys get him, he might be the missing piece to the puzzle that could push you into the top four. Now, I don't think your team's ready for that. But again, with the quality that you have, nobody can question why you shouldn't be in that top four with Baleba and the front three that you signed. You're going to be pushing on. So it's a massive, massive improvements. And, Man United are moving very serious this window. We got told that they didn't have money. Well, that's definitely lies. I know Terry told you guys don't believe the media when they say that, but you have to actually start believing Terry when he says it. Don't believe the media because you have more than enough money. You have the most money. Like,
do you know what it is with the media? Just on that, it's like it's not believing them per se. I know I say that, but it's more sometimes when it comes to Man United. If Man United say, "Look, if Man United brief the press, say we're really, really comfortable with our squad," the media will go, "Okay, that's what you're telling us, but we understand football and we disagree because this player's weak, that player's old, that player's injury prone." When Man United briefs saying we haven't got much money, the media print it like it's the gospel truth. They add no nuance and they don't come in and go, well, we've been told this for 10 years and they spend money. That's the bit I find annoying is sometimes they will rebuttal what we say and go, actually, let's add some common sense. Let's add some other thoughts so that we give out a really detailed article that covers both sides of the argument. When they say we've got no money, it's just United are broke, United are finished, I won't sign anybody. And that's what I mean by the media being so disingenuous to its readers or its listeners or the people that view its content is they don't present both sides of the argument. We were never only going to spend £100 million this summer. It was never, not with, for me, people are saying that we made people redundant and it's a disgrace we're spending. We made people redundant so we could spend. The insult would be all these people have lost their jobs and United didn't spend that money on players. That would have been the insult from my point of view. But sorry, over to you, KJ.
I was going to say, with that whole thing, what was I about to say about the media? It's funny because, like, again, the whole thing about Man United having no money has been skewed as in, like, we've got literally nothing. What we haven't got is straight up cash. So we just can't drop 70 million up front. Boom, there you go. That's why we've been having to do installments. That's why we've been having to be budgeting correctly on deals, and why some deals might take longer than normal. It's because we have to work with finite amount of cash. But we've got reserves, we've got credit facilities, we've got means to get money to buy players. So that was never in question. In terms of Baleba and what George said, this is actually quite different to Frankie de Jong because Barcelona was actually really easy to deal with. We actually agreed a fee for him. That was never the issue. It was the players buying. And we just could never get Frankie de Jong to want to come to Man United because his dream club is Barcelona. He's one of their best players. He's been winning things with them. Why would he leave now just because Barca are being dickheads? So yeah, like that was never a non-starter. But with Baleba, the reason why I think we have a chance is that if Baleba said no, if Baleba was just saying, you know what, yeah, I'm happy with Brighton, come chat to me next season, I want to develop, I really don't think we'll continue on because we've showed it this season already, this summer already. If the players are not wanting Man United, we move on. Look at Gyökeres. Yes, the reports were saying we're lingering around, we're talking, all these things. But deep down, I know we called him like a couple of times. Do you like? Are you coming to United? Are you happy to come to United? No, one Arsenal. Okay, cool. And we moved on. Like, and that's how we've been moving. So the fact that it's coming out that Baleba's open, Baleba's willing, Baleba's looking for a chance to potentially move to Manchester United, it gives me a chance. It gives me a belief that we will try. And I can't fault a team for trying. Will we agree a deal with Brighton? I don't know. I don't think we will. I've said it before. I don't know if I don't think we get the deal done just because Brighton will ask for money that we may not be able to give, or the structure may not suit them, so we won't come to an agreement. That's fine. We are trying to improve our team. We recognize there is a hole in the team, and we find the right profile that fits that need in that hole in the team. And Man United going for it, I have no issues with that. I know some people will be like, "Oh, we didn't get Baleba. We couldn't get a deal. We're such incompetent fools. It's just all PR. We actually never tried to get him properly." Like, no, it's none of that. We are trying to get him. If it works out, it doesn't. And if work out, it does. Like, and we'll be happy. But like, yeah, like I think it'd be a perfect solution for what we want for now. And again, Baleba doesn't just fix us. It's not Baleba and yep, top 4 is done. Like, will we go challenge for everything else? Want to win trophies? No, we'll still need to find balance in our midfield. We'll still need to find solutions to some of the issues we have on the pitch, tactically, technically, physically. So we still need to find a balance in the squad. But Baleba would help us a lot in that midfield. And like I say, Baleba Mainu as a pivot, whether that's 3 at the back or 4 at the back or whatever, that excites me. That future excites me.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think, look, as a football player, because this time of the year, we know what he's going to bring. KJ's spot on. Any Man United fan labouring under this illusion that we're going to be complete or fixed or, oh, my God, we're ready. Ready for what? We'll be ready to push for that top half properly. We'll be ready to win more games. We'll be ready to maybe get a European spot. We're not challenging for no league title. Get that nonsense out your brain right now. The only Man United fans online saying that are the ones that know we won't achieve it, so they can moan about it later. It's a fucking setup. You're being set up. It's like one of those con phone calls when they want your bank details. Don't trust any idiot saying that. What I'll say is this, though. The deal can happen. Where I disagree with you, George, is I know people think Fabrizio is a brown envelope and he will push out whatever stories an agent tells him to, or he'll do things to a sort of engagement farm. I see it the other way. The reason that Fabrizio, I know he tweets a lot more than Ornstein does.
I was just on about his actual tweets. Like, he tweets like the same.
No. I agree. I agree. But he only typically does that when there's a chance. I see it as when he does that, there's a genuine chance a deal happens, because when we're linked to other players that we get excited about and there is just no chance, he sort of says, I've heard nothing. He might talk about it regularly, but it's only because he goes, people keep asking me. But as I've said before, I've heard no movement. I've heard there's no bids. I've heard there's no talking. Where this is the other way, which is they're still pushing. He said yesterday, United are speaking to the agent because they basically need to know whether they move on to other targets. The next update is they're not moving on to other targets. They're going to keep pushing, and they want to make an attempt for a deal. That marries up with what the reports from the continent have said, which is United are looking to make an offer. Now, in Spain and across Europe, they don't care whether it's an official bid, a WhatsApp text, an unofficial. They don't care about the terminology. They just say offer. And I actually prefer the way the European counterparts, journalists report on it, because whether you text an intermediary to text Tony Bloom to say, would this be enough? Or you send an official bid, I still look at them as they're almost the same thing, because if that intermediary comes back saying, yeah, they'll accept it, the next thing Man United do is send the official bid. So I don't like that whole sort of, although Tony Bloom will never say that, they wait for the official bid before they actually accept it. But anyway, I think there's a really good chance we get this done. My belief, every day it's not shut down, I'm going to believe it's more likely to happen. That's sort of been my view on this, where I thought when it came out last Wednesday, or I think it was last Wednesday when it broke, I viewed it and thought, you know what? By Friday, if it ain't going to happen, I think it'll be shut down really, really quickly. It will cost a lot of money, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to beat around the bush. He's worth over 100 million. If we paid 105 in total for him, I'm really comfortable with that. I think he's that good a player. I think he'll prove himself. He's got great availability. decent passer of the ball, good technician, but it's the press resistant nature of him that we need so much. And I think him and Kobbie Mainoo together could become it has the potential, has the ceiling to become one of our best combos in Premier League history. Not our best, because we had Keane and Scholes. We had Scholes and Carrick, and that's a very high ceiling. You're talking the best combinations in midfield the Premier League has ever seen. But they have an opportunity to become one of our best, and they have an opportunity because of their technical ability, and this is what the football's changed as well. So Keane would have been able to play in this era. People think Keane was just this like nutcase on the ball, a bruiser. Very good technician and very good athleticism. Scholes would have worked in this era, but would definitely have needed it. Scholes and Carrick as a partnership probably wouldn't work in this era because of the extra physicality and speed needed. Scholes would have stayed. It would have been a different type of. You would have needed a Baleba next to a Scholes to make that balance in this era, and that's the thing with football. It kind of changes. But I look at the modern day era that we're in. The physicality that's needed, the ball carrying that's needed. What both players are great at is when they're in intricate spaces, getting themselves out of it with one touch, two touch football. That's so needed for midfields. As a collective, it has such high potential. Now, that high potential needs to be nurtured, needs to be developed, needs to be coached. How do we do that? By having a regimented system that we maintain. And even if we change head coach because he isn't good enough, or because he is good enough and he does great and moves on to somewhere else, we need to maintain that. How this deal will go wrong is if we repeat mistakes of the past, which is we buy Baleba and we go, right, Baleba, Mainoo, you're going to be the main guys. This is how we're going to play. This is the system. Let's go. That we do 12 months of it. Doesn't quite work yet. We haven't quite got to the heights we want. And we go, right, we're getting rid of the coach. New guys coming in and we're changing system. And now we're going 4-3-3. And then suddenly Mainoo and Baleba are being made to do something else and something different. And then 18 months later, we go to a 4-2-3-1 with a different manager and coach. This time he's banning the staff and players from eating together, and he's putting trees up in the training ground, and there's new training methods again. This still happened in the past, by the way. And then Mainoo's role changes for the third time in 3 or 4 years, and Baleba's does. Then it will flop. And that's why so many of our players have flopped in the past. That's then why players come in and don't work as hard at United. It's why they don't give 100%, because what's the point? It's going to change in 18 months. What's the point of me learning this? What's the point of running through a brick wall and becoming great at this system just to have it change again soon? So that's what we need to manage at the club, is that we're not buying these players, starting something and never finishing it. But as a collective, the potential is massive. I hope we get this done. I think it's a game changer for us this season, although it doesn't fix our midfield completely, doesn't fix our squad completely. There's a long way to go. But yeah, look, I love this deal. And I also think as well, the reason why we'll do it, George, just again, it's fan feeling probably. Next summer, more clubs are going to come in for him. I think we've got a bit of a free run this summer. Yeah. I think we've got a little bit I think the club and again, if I was the agent of Baleba, this is what I'd be selling to Man United. Listen, the Liverpools and the Arsenals and the Cities and X, Y, and Z, they could all be in for him. Real Madrid, all in for him next year. Right now, none of them are looking for a player like this. Next summer's going to be different. I'd strike now whilst you got a bit of a free hit. I'd get it done. Take him off the market, put him on that 6-year deal, make him a Man United player. Worry about the cost later. Look, we're going to sell players. There's news today that's come out now, and we knew this was coming, that I can't find the article now, that Rasmus Højlund is now accepted that he's got to leave. I did love the bit here where he says he's unhappy because he seems like he's being forced out. What did you think was happening? It's been so obvious all summer, Rasmus, but Rasmus is going to go. Garnacho is going to go. Good luck with the vape in Chelsea, by the way. It's bad for you, that is. I've been told. So, yeah, look, it's one of those things where I think to myself, they're going to go. And there was Andy Mitten put out an article that, again, has gone under the radar a little bit, because it always does when they're not transfer journalists, that there's a lot of it, that there is the potential for quite a few exits for Man United in the next 3 weeks, 4 or 5, in fact. And that's where I think we can raise the money to do this deal. But look, we'll see what happens. Viewers, do you think a bid's coming in? Do you think the deal's going to happen? Would love to get your thoughts. Would love to get your opinions in the comment section below. Also, make sure like buttons are being smashed as well. Let's go to some of your super chats here. KJ and Terry, how did you feel to finish a deal quickly? Speaking about Šeško, I don't remember a deal we finished quick as we did this one.
To be fair, no, it felt good. It felt good to know that we got a bid in. We adjusted it for Leipzig, and then we got the player in straight away. Van der Beek was pretty quick as well. Like that one was out of nowhere. Boom, Van der Beek deal. I think it was just like bid accepted, transfer and stuff done.
No,
So
it is though, even with this KJ. They say quick, but we know as guys that have followed the transfer window very closely that they've probably been talking since the start of June. Because there's been links to Sesko.
Yeah, they've been talks.
So like,
but in terms of coverage, let's talk about coverage then. In terms of coverage of it happening and then doing, it's been pretty quick. And yeah, it's not a normal thing for Man United to do, but that was quick. I think Cunha was technically pretty quick as well, if you think about it. So we've moved better this summer. It's the Mbumo deal that everyone put a sour taste.
But the Mbumo deal weren't even all our fault. Brentford kept on up in the price. That's been well documented. You know, the same journalists like Laurie Whitwell, who said we might sign someone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, everyone took seriously. They seem to say it's PR when he says that Brentford kept on putting the price up. They both said that Newcastle and Spurs bid more, whether it was an official bid or an intermediary bid. Again, like I've already said, I'm honest about this. I think they're the same thing. And Brentford were trying to convince Mbumo to change his mind because they were going to bid more than Manchester United were, but the player wouldn't. Those things Leipzig didn't do. Leipzig set a price. United matched it. They agreed. What Leipzig didn't do is say, well, Šeško, we're going to keep refusing because Newcastle will bid more. We're going to wait for you to change your mind. If Leipzig would have done that, if Leipzig would have turned around and said, we're just not accepting any Man United bid because Newcastle are going to keep bidding more, then it would still be dragging on. So as much as we can be better negotiators, but we only do that, this is the irony in it. And I don't think, by the way, the improvement comes as quickly. But the tougher you are, I've been laughed at by a lot of people this summer. Oh, you're just happy that United were gritty and hard to deal with. Yes, because it means the next deal you get involved with, everyone knows you're not a pushover. So they're less likely to push you as hard because it's a case of, well, this is going to be exhausting. It's you beat people with sort of that naturally in that way. So yeah, look, yes, we've got this deal done quickly, but part of that, Adele, was because Leipzig didn't do what Brentford did. So we have to bear that in mind, to be fair. Liverpool 4th, United 5th. Hope, no excuse for no improvement, but no demand for a trophy unless the league is great. I don't care about domestic cups outside, kind of. Look, yeah, there has to be improvements by Man United. No excuses for that. We have to be a better team this year overall, and you'll see that in the league. We've got to win more games. We've got to score more goals. We've got to get more points and finish higher in the league. There's no doubt. I'm not putting any pressure on Man United getting in the top 5 right now. Signed Donnarumma, which again is another update from Fjortov on this today, where Fjortov has just said, been told that the deal will be expensive and that it won't happen before United sell more players. And Fjortov's he hasn't done a lot of transfer stories this summer, but on Man United, he's been very, very accurate. So again, bring in Donnarumma, bring in Baleba, and we'll have another conversation about where we may or may not finish. But yeah, I wouldn't be putting 5th place on United right now, personally. City getting rid of Savinho and Jack means Rodrygo.
Scary.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, Shane. Pep must be the GOAT, winning with trash players.
Well, who called them trash? Who's called them trash?
Well, this is the thing. If he was winning it all with Jack being his main guy and his best, and he managed to get the best out of him, then maybe yes, but he wasn't. It was everybody else. It was the KDBs and the Rodrygos and the Phil Fodens and the Haalands. Because if you remove 2 or 3 of those guys but kept Grealish, I don't think they win the league.
Also, this super chat reinforces that Fergie's the GOAT, because all of Man United's players are overrated and rubbish, really. And
yeah,
we won it 13 times. So yeah, no, thank you, IFL Discovery. Fergie is the GOAT, confirmed.
This one's for you, George. City let Palmer go. Look how that turned out. Is that what your hope is here? You're hoping for your own Palmer type situation?
Definitely. Well, I don't know if it'll be exactly the same, but definitely of that type. You know, he may not be good enough for City, but he's definitely good enough for Spurs. And he'll be a ceiling raiser for us, massive one.
Absolutely, would be good for players for United. Could make them real contenders for top 5 if it happens. I would say 5th Villa, 6th United, 7th Newcastle, 8th Tottenham. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's possible.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know if I have Villa so high in it. I think a lot of people are confident in them, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I wouldn't have Villa fifth over United, Spurs, and Newcastle. I wouldn't have them fifth.
To be fair, they've kept most of their players. That's the main thing. That you just haven't signed many. That's the problem. But yeah, I
say
think
they've lost Asensio and Rashford to that front line, so their front line's weakened.
Yeah, but they're still they did half the season without them as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do.
They've got Europa, right? They've got Europa League.
Europa League.
Yes,
yeah.
Europa League. Yeah.
The fact they haven't bought anyone's crazy. I think they've barely signed anybody, have they?
Yeah, they've bought Gassons, and they've bought Gassons, a 34-year-old goalkeeper, and this young kid centre back, this tertiary centre back that they've already sent out on loan. So yeah, it's been a strange.
I mean, they haven't really, as you say, losing. They brought the Asensio and Rashford in to help them win the Champions League and qualify for the Champions League. They need to replace those bodies. The problem is they were spending 97% of their income on those players. They've got to balance those books, because that means they've made a massive loss in the financial year. Yeah. It just does. Unless actually, did they sell the women's team to themselves? They did.
Yeah,
didn't they? Yeah. So they probably covered it a little bit with that personally. This here from Adele also says, good morning, gents. I am sorry I just joined. Is Isak joining Liverpool or not? This is a great super chat because it feeds into our next part of the show, which I wanted to get into, because the lies being told about this deal by the Newcastle media, I think, are astronomical. I'll put a series of screenshots up because I need to show you guys this. So yesterday, man like Luke, why is this not going up on my screen? I pressed it and it's not coming up. That's weird. It isn't working. It probably that's very strange. Well, that one's going up. This one isn't.
Well, which one? Luke, Isak 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, click on the Isak one if you can.
I'm pressing both and not coming up.
Yeah, nothing's coming up on the screen, is it? That's very strange. That's annoying as well because I want to talk about it. So I'm going to try and re-upload that again because the other ones I've uploaded earlier have worked. Let's see if this works. StreamYard's been moving mad recently, I tell you. Is it uploading anything? Come on now. It should never take this long to upload. This is the StreamYard issue because my internet speed is quick. Let's see if it works now. There we go. Nice. So it says here that Isak's behavior has been despicable. Isn't it funny how this man hasn't written an article about Wissa's behavior being despicable, by the way? The sooner he realizes it, the quicker the healing process will be for Newcastle United. Which, again, first and foremost, I look at that and I read that and think to myself, well, that's just so loaded because you're trying to sign players that have behaved in a very, very similar way this summer. He then goes on to say, latest on the Isak situation, if Newcastle can sign 2 strikers for suitable quality and Liverpool make a bid of 150 million, there's a chance he could be sold. The main problems are Liverpool are not intimidated by the willing to offer, intimating that they are willing to offer that amount of money, and Newcastle do not believe they are 2 suitable strikers left on the market, which also doesn't make sense because they're pursuing Samu, they're pursuing Nico, they're looking at Wissa, they're literally doing that, they're bidding, right, as an example. And then he goes on to say, so to make this simple for simpletons, this is a professional journalist here, right? There is no chance he will be allowed to leave. There is no chance. They're bidding for players. If Liverpool offer the money, he'll go. Now he's saying there's no chance he'll leave. The board told him he's not for sale. His behavior has forced them to contemplate the terms of what it would take to sell him. So the only reason they were bidding for Isak and trying to sign him was because of the behavior of Isak. Is mad. Then goes on to say, those terms are nowhere. Sorry, he's forced them to contemplate the terms that would be taken to sell him. Those terms are nowhere near being matched. The deadlock will continue. So he ends this statement by basically saying, but if the terms are met or close to being met, they might sell him. So he isn't for sale no matter what, George. He's a despicable man, not for sale no matter what. But again, if you offer us this or get close to this and we find a replacement, we might let him go. Do you not find the way the journalists in Newcastle have reported on this deal? I don't even feel bad for Liverpool fans or us or anyone reading it. It's the Newcastle fans that are being sucked in by this.
Yeah, I think that you can tell here the journalists have a vested interest in this deal by the way that they're reporting it. Quite clearly, Newcastle fans themselves that feel some type of way about how he's acting, which let's be honest, we've seen this happen time and time again with football. Players at a club that's not that big, he wants to leave to a bigger club, he forces a move, that club accepts a bid. This is just, it's part of football. This is the food chain of football. And you've got to accept it, being a club like Newcastle. Like I would accept it when it happened with Harry Kane. Yeah, it wasn't nice. Harry Kane was a Tottenham Academy product. But at the end of the day, he wanted better. He wanted bigger. We can't complain. There's other clubs out there that are coming in for him that can match his ambition. So they need to accept that. It's just really strange that he says, Newcastle said he's not for sale, but they're willing to negotiate. But yeah, that's pretty much how it happens for most clubs. You know, they say they're not willing to sell a player, but there's a certain price that you're willing to accept because it's too good. You know, that price, you can never say no to 140, 150 million. Now, I do agree to them in that fact that if they don't match that price, don't force your sell. Don't force your sell, because Isak isn't a player that I think is going to kick up a fuss enough to do, let's say, what Tevez done at Man City and said, you know, I'm going to sit on the sidelines for 3 or 4 months and try by this time when he eventually came back. I don't think he's that brave enough to do that. I think Isak's going to play football. I think that he will end up playing. And after, let's just say, he has his punishment, you know, you get a couple weeks and they deduct some of your wages, you get suspension. Eddie Howe come out and said it just last week that, yeah, he's not training with the squad at the moment, but once he gets the go-ahead, Eddie Howe in that sense, once he gets the go-ahead, he will look to incorporate him back into the team, and he's going to integrate him, as we've seen. It may be a slow integration, but after a month or two, and he's scored 4 or 5 goals for Newcastle, they're not going to care that much. They're not going to care when he's bagging a goal against Man City or Man United or potentially in Liverpool. They're not going to care. They're going to be like, oh, Isak, and they're going to be screaming his name and shouting and celebrating, as we do, because football fans are fickle. We remember what happened now. Not what you done for me yesterday, it's what you're doing for me now. So, yeah, look, it isn't great and it is a bit sour at the moment, but everybody's going to accept however it plays out. I think he will be sold, but this is going to be a deal that drags on because Liverpool are going to try and make this as low as possible. But if Newcastle are smart enough, they'll, you know, hold on to their player for the right price, and they're not going to sell and not be, you know, pulled into a £120 million deal just because, like, they should be smart here.
Yeah, the funniest line, for me, the funniest line of that little sequence of tweets was, Newcastle believe there are no suitable strikers left on the market. Oh, is that true, Mr. Edwards? So why are you bidding for Wissa? Why are you looking at Jackson, and why do you want to sign Samu? If there's no suitable striker on the market, you wouldn't be looking for anyone. So here's the thing: like Craig Hope, I kind of have a little bit of respect for because he's been covering it, I think, as fairly as possible from a Newcastle perspective, which is cool. But this Luke Edwards brother, the same guy that said Man United are the reason why the market is distorted, the same brother that said the Mbumo wanted 250k, and that is why Newcastle didn't go in for him because he's asking way too much money. And Man United, that's what they're giving him. Lies. The same brother that said James Trafford to Newcastle is pretty much a done deal. In the same day, boom, here we go for Trafford. I can't trust this guy, man.
It's true. Yeah, he also said here on 1st of May, Newcastle love what Brian Mbumo could bring to their attack, but are worried about the price tag. They bid more than Manchester United as an example. He lied about the salary that Man United were paying him. He also lied that they weren't seriously in he said this on 5th of June. Confirmed by multiple sources this evening, Newcastle were never serious about Cunha. Not true. Mbumo was recruitment team's top target for right wing, but wage demands combined with Brentford's asking price put Newcastle off. A lie. They offered more money to Brentford, and we're only paying him 150,000 a week, which I'm not saying is cheap, but it isn't at the level that they are. It isn't at the level that they are claiming. It is just it's when all the facts come out, you should go back and reference this. And he obviously has contacts at the football club, and the football club are always going to brief in this way. And by the way, that's similar to what Joe Linton and Anthony Gordon earn. And if he's your top target, there's no way they're offering him less than those guys to sign. Do you know what I'm saying? So it would have been in and around that ballpark. And the bit that frustrates me is that they've obviously been briefed that by the club. But this is where the journalist should do his job better. Okay, the club are saying this. Well, there's a little bit of a contradiction within their statements. But what are the agents of Isak saying? What are people at Liverpool saying? What are the intermediaries out there I can reach out to are saying? Put together a fully formed article. Don't call people simpletons, because 1 minute you're saying he isn't for sale, and the very next sentence you're saying, well, what could make the sale go through? So he is, yes, they've not put him on the transfer market, but just be honest with your viewers and your listeners and your readers that there is the potential for him to go. Equally, why are you not calling out people like Ornstein for saying that you're working on Samu? You haven't like you haven't kind of commented underneath saying, well, this isn't true. We don't think that any of the strikers are good enough. You wouldn't dare do that to an Ornstein, because Ornstein will fucking cook you without being rude, and you'll look really silly. It's ridiculous. And I will say this to Liverpool fans, because I think some Liverpool supporters also did this to Raheem Sterling, and he's still suffering today. The Newcastle press are going to try and paint Alexander Isak out to be a criminal, a scumbag, a rat and dirt. And this is why I try not to lose my mind when Man United players do things like force moves away, is because you end up looking a hypocrite if you then start praising and protecting another player doing something similar to join your club. You've got to keep the energy 100. And this is why I've learned. I used to do it, and there's old footage out there probably of me doing it, but I've got older and I've matured. And it's, Terry, why are you not going in hard on Garnacho? I've said I don't think his behavior's been great, but do you know why I'm not going to go in crazy? Because say Baleba now starts doing similar things to Garnacho and it works and we get him, when he walks out on that Old Trafford pitch and performs, am I going to be sitting there going, fucking brilliant, but I can't cheer it because the way he forced the move out? Or am I going to be sitting there going, my midfielder, love him? I'm going to be doing the latter. I'm going to praise him. And that's only my message here to Liverpool fans. And I'm not just talking about Trent per se, because a slightly different scenario, homegrown, left for nothing. But the next time a player wants to leave your club, just be mindful of the precedents we all help set. Because now Isak, and we also know as well, and I don't care who I offend with this, because it's coming from a good place. Isak, unless people have not noticed, also is what I don't think this is the right expression in the UK anymore, but I still use it. Is from Afro-Caribbean descent. And if he gets, I'm not saying that Luke is intentionally doing this, but when black players get put out as greedy, money hungry, despicable, rat behavior, you just know that is a dog whistle to a lot of people as well. He'll then start to get another level of criticism, another level of disrespect, another level of hate and media attention that other players do not get. So that's the one message I've got here, is that I don't like these articles, because you're not even being 100 as a Newcastle outlet. Where are the articles saying Wissa is despicable for not wanting to train with Brentford? You're not going to say that, because when he comes, you're going to give him a fucking fanfare and go, hey, what a legend. What a legend. You're on mute, KJ.
We love the desire and passion that Wissa had to join Newcastle. That's what he'd be saying. That's what the fans will be saying. Oh, he fought for us. He really wanted us. He made sure that he got the move for us. He's amazing. That's what they will say. So you can't chat about Isak.
That's true. Lou here says, Terry, you behave like that because you are a host of a football channel. It's your job. Fans are absolutely entitled to be giant, emotional, irrational, tribal hypocrites. Yes, you're entitled to do it. You're absolutely entitled to do it. And what I'm not advocating for is people shouldn't be allowed to do things. There's a fundamental difference. Freedom of speech is important to me. You should be able to do that. What I am stating, though, is we should be conscious of our actions, because the media will jump on things that it sees the fan. So if the Newcastle fans are angry about the way Isak's behaving, how can a Newcastle journalist build up his credibility and his popularity within that fan base? By throwing fuel on that fire and jumping on it. What we need to be mindful of as football fans is the precedent that sets. But equally, this is where we can self-police things as football fans by going, do you know what? I'm annoyed at player X for trying to force a move from my club. But do you know what I'm not going to do is behave in ridiculous name calling him a rat and he's only going for, because there will be, I guarantee you'll see an article about this. It'll be like, he hasn't even left, he's gone for the money, he hasn't gone for the right reasons. That'll all be written because it gets done every time. And I just think, for me, I'm just at a point where the hypocrisy annoys me. That being said, Fans are entitled to do what they want. Journalists, by the way, are entitled to write what they want. I would never want a ban on that to come in. But equally, I'm going to call it out as hypocritical, emotional, irrational nonsense, as you've said there, Lou. So I totally get you there.
The thing here is, it just goes back to what you guys have said time and time again. Once you become a big club, you start getting used to players doing that to come to your club. So then when players do it to leave your club, you're like, do you know what? It's all part of the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. This is the game of football. Everybody's using someone to get somewhere. Yeah, look, Isak might have used Newcastle to be a stepping stone to a bigger club, but that's because that's what you are. You are a stepping stone. There's 6 other clubs in England bigger than you, let alone the world of football. So when you're looking at it, you can't be... Again, I'm a Spurs fan. I know that just like, yeah, me and Man United have competed for players, but ultimately, Man United's a bigger club. So when when these players like Mbomo, Cunha, and so on are choosing Man United, I can sit here and be mad and be like, oh, we won a trophy over them. We done this over them. Why is he choosing them? Or just be like, do you know what? They're a bigger club than us. They've chose them because they see the opportunity at a bigger club. It is what it is. You move on to other targets. You go get other players. Yeah, look, you guys enjoyed Isak for a few years, but you enjoy another striker soon enough as well. You've just got to move on from it and understand, again, when Vissa comes in, like you said, who's been pushing for a move, nobody's like, this is a rat. He's a snake for not going to Brentford's training, for leaving their tour to push a move to us. Nobody's going to say that from Newcastle. So keep that same energy, man.
And you know what's funny? The Newcastle fan, I don't see why. I understand Newcastle fans where they sit on it, which is fair enough. That's fine. But they don't also look at their own club. You know what I mean? So Man United, we get, as fans, we get told, well, you need to look at your own club and how you operate. That's why you guys suck. You guys are blind to it, right? Okay, cool. We look at our club. Let's look at the actions of Newcastle. What's easier? Asking Isak to stay and after 2 attempts, letting him go and getting guaranteed money, or playing this game unsettled, like the players unsettled, things are getting sour and toxic, and you've allowed that to brew on your own turf. So let's not just all blame Isak here. This could have easily been sorted out by Newcastle as well. Let the player go. Do it. Man City do it. Man City do all that. They were also in Newcastle's position at one point. They let the player go if they don't want to be here, and only have players that want to stay and improve the club. If months ago, if in June, if in July, they said, you know what, Isak, we can't be dealing with your attitude. We need to improve. We need to get better. You're not on board. Go. We get 120, 130 million from Liverpool. We improve the squad. You can move on forward. But the club has been doing this stance of, no, he's not leaving. No, you got to stay. No, And now you're here with a player who you don't even know if he's going to be great when he comes back to play for you.
I hear you on that. And look, as I say, the lies about Isak are bothering me a lot. I don't like when they do that to people. But look, give us your views, give us your opinions in the comment section below. Some breaking news, gentlemen, from Ornstein. And you've got to applaud Man City here. Their deal for Grealish to Everton, all the salary covered, there is a £50 million buy option. So not a agreement in principle. So if Everton want to keep him next summer, it's £50 million.
Now, you know what?
That's fair for Everton deal there. I'll be honest. If you're looking at any team to go and invest £50 million in Jack Grealish, it's Everton. And to be fair, I don't blame them, because when you actually look at the deal, it might look like a lot on the outset, but I think he becomes the face of them for the next 3 to 4 years. And yeah, he's getting older, but you talk about shirt sales and all that, you know, giving the Everton fans something. They've got their new stadium. Who's going to get, you know, bums off seats? It's going to be Grealish. He's going to be the guy that's getting people down to the stadium, in fact. So it's a big signing, and for Everton, it'd be huge. Now, I don't think the quality is going to be there. He may be missing the quality, but him being inconsistent at Everton's not a problem, because it's Everton. The eyes aren't on the same.
No, but it is a problem for Everton. They're investing 300k a week into this man and potentially £50 million. He can't be inconsistent for them. He can't be.
He can, man.
No, he can't. No, he can't. And he said he's the face. He's going to be the face of their club now.
The thing is,
KJ,
let's
best player.
we're not going to know whether he's inconsistent because Everton are barely on TV. Nobody watches Everton that much. That's the thing.
They will. We will see it.
Yeah, he'll also as well. He'll be able to go out and get pissed now, and no one will give a fuck. The media will stop following him. Like as in the national media will stop following him around. Do you know what? The way I look at it is the good though. I look at it this. Oh, it says here that Grealish is taking a pay cut to 250k a week.
Enough.
So that's fair play to him. But it's still a lot of money, right? It's still a lot of money. But what's interesting about it is if Grealish, after 2 years of absolute nothingness, is a £50 million player, again, this is what should be helping other clubs sell players. At the end of the day, like Man United are going to be getting somewhere in the region of 40 odd million for Højlund, which, by the way, I think is a steal considering that he can't score goals, right? The one I'm looking at is Garnacho. I look at it and just think, if we're taking, Chelsea fans keep saying 25 or 30 million, take it or leave it. My response is leave it. Set the precedent, leave that. If Grealish right now in 2025 is a £50 million player, 250k a week, Garnacho is worth the same, because as bad as Garnacho was last year, he still outperformed Grealish. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to use that as a benchmark. You have to. Speaking of benchmarks, what do you think, George? Do you think Arsenal, I mean, they were very good on Saturday, to be fair. Do you think they're going to go and get Parish was interviewed after the game yesterday? I said, will Eze be here at the end of the season? I might have said Isak. I meant to say Eze. He said, will Eze be here at the end of the transfer window? And he basically just said, players come, players go. We'll see what happens. Which tells you he's really not up for sale, but that's not
did you say about Gay as well? Because I swear he mentioned Gay.
Yeah, he said about Gay as well. So there was two separate times they interviewed him. Basically, he's given the same answer for both players. It's like players come, players go. This is sort of the nature of the beast. Do you think Arsenal were going to make that move? Do you think Arsenal were actually going to go and get this done, George?
I question Arsenal's. I question, to be fair, a lot of teams, how bad teams want Eze. I've been doing it all window because I feel like Eze would have been the player that you wrapped up earlier in the window because it's a big signing, it's a big fee. It's going to command a lot of money. And right now, the closer to the end of the window we get, the more in Crystal Palace's hands you leave the deal. I look at this and I don't actually think that this deal is going to go ahead. But off the back of Steve Parish's words, if they put the right money and invested in the deal and they're willing to pay the 60 plus 5 million or whatever they want, I think Arsenal can get it done. I don't think personal terms are ever an issue. The issue is getting the deal done with Steve Parish. So if Arsenal want him bad enough and they see that they need another creative player, then they'll go get Eze and they'll invest the money. But I think it'll be a good deal, definitely. Eze is a good player. For the money that's invested in it might be a little bit extra, but for a player in, reaching his prime and a guy that's just a real maverick on the ball, somebody who can give you that quality that they just don't have, I don't see why they can't get a deal done. So, yeah, man, I think Arsenal can get the deal done for the right price if they're willing to pay. That's the thing here, isn't it?
Yeah, we will come back to this. Breaking news has just come out from a journalist. I don't know much about him. He's a pretty big journalist, 500,000 followers, works for a number of massive, he works for a company called RFI. They're a media outlet. Again, they've got 4.8 million followers, right? So you've got to take that relatively seriously. He works for L'Équipe as well. L'Équipe, we know, a credible French outlet. He said the record for the biggest transfer in history for an African player is expected to be broken by Carlos Baleba. A fee of 112 million is being discussed behind the scenes. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. I just keep watching Ornstein's feed, waiting for it to update. Say United will submit 112 million.
All we need, the first update I think we actually get is Baleba wants to join Man United from Ornstein or Fabrizio, like a proper.
That'll be the first. That'll be the first way it goes through. But we'll keep an eye on it. Again, I mean, I don't know nothing about this journalist, but again, he's got 500,000 followers. Seems credible.
I've seen his name around, especially around the French and the African players. Like I've seen his name.
Yeah, a very big connection there. This is going to sound a weird question. It's not a weird question. Cameroon, was that a French colony?
I think the French had.
Yeah,
I think French did some business down there.
Some business.
No, it was like Cameroon people, the French speakers.
It French, yeah. Say with like Ivory Coast and stuff.
And I asked that because what I've noticed is because of the colonial links, you often see that when it comes to the journalistic side of things. You'll often see like French journalism and French football. There'll be certain African nations where they have a real connection with. And I assume that was due to the past, as an example. Mbappe is from Cameroon, is he? Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So, but yes, so that's why the French press, because sometimes you get an obscurity. I always remember it was a Turkish journalist who broke Nuno to Spurs. And I've never understood why has this journalist got it? It turned out because Nuno was talking to some Turkish clubs and said no and joined.
People, when I said business, I'm not saying like it was a friendly transaction. It was a cover word. Guys, come on.
How have you not understood the hidden message in what KJ said? Oh, please. I mean this with respect. You need to touch some grass today. It's a warm day, people.
I'm not saying it was all good. I know what happened down there. That I just didn't want to get into it. Jeez.
Yeah, I hear you. Ash here. Ash is crying again. Ash says it's just a terrible way to get a move. Show respect, hand in a transfer request. Don't go on strike to the club that pays you and disrespect your teammates. Look, I can understand that. My only view is that it has to be 100 across the board. So if you sign a player from that way, I expect you to show the same level before he signs and when he signs. I want the news articles saying the same. So journalists, I want the same news articles. I want the media saying it. I don't want him applauded when he arrives. I want him booed. So he understands his behavior is bad. Then you can cheer him afterwards. That's my only issue with it. I want to see consistency of behavior, Ash.
Sorry, Sam ruined your day. I'm sorry.
Well, is that what he said?
No, the next one. Look down.
The worst bit was
Harry deserves that one. He's got onto KJ a lot since the wedding.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. Screw you.
I've lost some weight. But what I'll say, Sam, if we're going to get personal, I'm going to get personal back. When it comes to touching grass, I was rolling around in the grass with your mum yesterday. So way mum jokes. I love a mum joke. You can't say it anymore. A mum joke's a thing at school still. Young'uns watching. Young'uns. At school, a mum joke's still a thing. Because I know when Jaws was at school, it was. It was 2 words. There was no swearing about anyone's mum. You just said your mum. We just said it. What's this? Ghana English, Ivory Coast French, Cameroon French, Guinea French. Oh yeah, Congo French. You get the point. Yeah, no, I know what went on. You know, horrendous things. I'm just never sure exactly which. And yeah, I mean, dad jokes. Yeah, dad bod, mate. Dad bod. Proud of it. Just can't stay fit when I'm in the gym. I've ripped a ligament in my ankle doing almost nothing. I'm just on crutches again. It's terrible. I can't help it. Terry needs a personal trainer. I don't, mate. I'm pretty healthy, to be fair. I'm pretty good. Terry, have you seen the movie? I can't pronounce the word. No, I've seen it. That's with what's his name? That Charlie, whatever his name is, from Sons of Anarchy and Green Street. I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it. I assume you're going to tell me that's set in Cameroon, because we're talking about it. But there we go. But back to the Arsenal thing. Sorry, we got sort of sidetracked a little bit. What do you think, KJ? Do you think they're going to move for him?
They're leaving it very, very late. And I understand why. They don't want to pay the release clause. Well, it's expired now, but they don't want to pay around the release clause. So yeah, like I can see why they're leaving it late, but you just get it done. Like, just get it done. We know they've got the money. We know they've got the space for it. It's just one of those ones where it's just like, Arsenal, like, you've been operating so well in this window. Like, get that last piece. Like, because getting Rodrygo and Eze was always going to be a hard task. That's fine. But we know Eze is going to want to come to Arsenal. We know that they've got the money. Just go get it done. Don't leave it this long. In my opinion, like, go get the deal done. Get him before the season starts. You don't really need to worry about preseason. He's been playing football. He's a very adaptable player, talented player. He's also won the Community Shield, so you've given him a chance to do something for Crystal Palace again. Now going in strike, especially now that Steve Parish is basically saying, yeah, they will go. Now that especially that they're in the Conference League as well, they haven't been up to the Europa League. It should be an easier time to get him, in my opinion. So yeah, go get it done. Go put the bid in and don't wait too long for it, because you just don't want it to be lingering on. Because if you do get to deadline day and this strategy doesn't work, your fan base are not going to be happy. You're going to have a lot of egg on your face in the way that you operated around this deal. And it'll just be a massive hole that you've got in the left wing for the title race. And I think all three of us here can agree, and Arsenal fans can agree, that Martinelli and Trossard are not title-winning left wingers. You need someone like Eze to come in and provide that different energy, that different stature, the technical ability, the magical moments. They're going to need that to try and win the league. So that's what they should be thinking about. What will make us win the league? And someone like Eze, he will do that. So go and do it. Don't leave it too late.
It's also just having those options to compete with the likes of City. You see Odegaard go down, and then they're starting to look at 17-year-olds. They're looking at Waneri, and you've seen Arsenal fans say Max Dowman, and yeah, look, they're both very talented. Nothing can be taken away of. But if you're relying on 17 and 15-year-olds in your league title race to be the backups for your main number 10, there's an issue. So you've got to have that depth and have the option that even when Odegaard's having a bad game, you throw Eze on. Make Dowman and Waneri your third option, and they shouldn't be your go-to. So yeah, no, I think Arsenal need to sign a player of that caliber if they are serious about competing this season.
Yeah, I agree. I would have always gone for Eze before I went for Madueke, although I did think Madueke looked really good when he came on the other day. And Arsenal looked a much better team starting their main players together, which is what they'll do for the majority of the season. In the Premier League, that is. But I still think they get this done. I'm intrigued to know why it's taking so long. My opinion is going to be, I think he's going to be earning a lot more money than Madueke. And I'm not too sure. Does anyone know what Madueke's salary are?
He stayed on the same salary. He stayed on the same salary he was on at Chelsea. Really low. I think it was like 70k, 60k.
Yeah, it's not massive high. It's not really high.
And that may be the sort of I'm just actually checking what that was last year, looking at this here. But that may be why this situation was Madueke. I don't know.
50k people are saying 50k.
Yes, so that's probably it. Because again, if you that's the thing here. People going, oh, why did we pay 48 million? Arsenal fans say we paid 48 million pound for Madueke really quickly, but if he's on 50k a week, you do that over the course of a year, you do that over the 5-year deal, that's 13 million. This was crazy. 13 million pound Madueke will cost you over 5 years. I think you're probably looking at somewhere in the region of 200k a week for someone like an Eze. That's 10 million a year. That's a 52 million pound salary investment into a player. So you put in, so let's say they get the player for 60 million pound, they get 8 million off. You're looking at a total investment, excluding agent fees, 112 million. You look at Madueke, the whole thing together is 60. You're talking almost like Eze's double the cost of a player. So again, this is where when you just listen to people look at purely the transfer fees, you never get the full picture. So I understand why they may be trying to shave money off, because they're probably thinking if we could get 10, 15, 20 million pound off the asking price, that covers a massive proportion of the salary, where if we end up paying 68 million, paying the agent fee, paying the player what he wants, it ends up costing 120 to 130 million in totality. Where you look at Madueke, you're looking at around 60 million in totality. And look, he is a better player, but you have to manage the money. The money is an important part. So it's one thing with Chelsea. The reason why Chelsea's deal all comes to Chelsea, one of the reasons Chelsea want Garnacho is he's only on 50k a week at Man United. If he was on 200k a week, I think Chelsea steer clear, because they wouldn't be able to get him, because he wouldn't take a massive pay cut, where they can actually increase his wages to, because I actually think he's going to go there. And I bet it's about 80, 90k a week maximum he goes there earning. It's not going to be huge amounts of money. And if he really wants, that's how I think Man United might end up getting slightly bigger transfer fee. I think the player might accept less. And we've seen a lot of that this summer, of agents and players taking less money or taking less commission, so the selling club gets what they want. I think it'll be somewhere similar in that regard. This here from King says, rival fans will have an all-timer when they get Baleba for 115 million. It's going to be epic. I'm already seeing it. Like, I think Ches in the group chat a minute ago, I haven't read it, always put in some stats to show that Andre Santos is better than Baleba, and that's fair. If you think he is, like, that's great. I really like Baleba, and Andre Santos is not available. Chelsea won't sell him. So it's almost if someone's not attainable, and it's like you've got to show me the other available midfielders that do the same as Baleba that I can buy. There's no point showing me a stat of somebody that's better because I can't buy him. Great, your player's better. Brilliant. Well done. Crack on.
Yeah, and are you talking about that thing chest putting, right?
Mm.
Yeah, but even that's from this season's stats. Like if you go to last season's stats, his role was a bit different, and you can see a different kind of way of him playing. So, like, okay, cool. Like last year, he was more of a defensive player, more of a dribbling player, but it doesn't mean he's got crap passing. It doesn't mean that now all of a sudden Andre Santos is light years ahead of Baleba, because if that's true, you drop Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah,
you drop one of your starting midfielders for him.
I hear that. If you want players behaving badly, just look at the Bond squad at Man United. 4 players who have sat back and poured all summer. I wouldn't necessarily say I've heard nothing that Rashford. I don't remember anything bad that Rashford did. Anything bad that Sancho this summer has done nothing. Anthony this summer has done nothing. They've just got certain clubs they want to join. They don't want to relinquish their money. The only player that I think's misbehaved has been Garnacho, to be fair. But the others, by the way, great to see you on the Football Terrace, Emily. Emily always watches the United Stand shows that I do. I don't remember reading anything negative from those other players that what they've done. Garnacho's definitely done stuff with the shirt, and even like yesterday, you're getting a tattoo done by why just be careful, man. Like vape if you want to vape, you've got the freedom to do it, but don't get caught on camera, man. That's the equivalent of Luke Shaw getting caught in McDonald's, bro. Just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like people will be mad. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in this morning. Another amazing show. Loads of viewers, loads of like buttons being hit. Thank you to our super chatters. We're back at 5 p.m. today. So we're going to be back live 5 p.m. unless there's breaking news for the top 6 show. What did it say? Terry, Hayden Hackney's stats must be good. Hayden Hackney's a very good footballer, but if we actually go,
his stats are excellent, and his ones would dwarf Baleba's if you look at the data and the diagram, but yeah, still wouldn't.
It's at a lower level though. That's the thing. It's at championship.
Yeah, it's at a lower level, but again, I wouldn't want Hackney over Baleba. Like, come on now, like let's do this. Like people do this thing of stats don't mean anything, but then they want to prove that this player is overpriced or this player is better. It's like, oh, but look at the stats. Which one is it?
Well, we had it last time because I think it was on the same website. Me and Dom were arguing. He was like, "Well, Rice doesn't progress the ball as much as it doesn't pass the ball forward as much as Enzo Fernandez does." Then we use that same that exact same stat website we went on. Then shows that he does. He doesn't progress the ball as much, but he carries it more. He doesn't progress the ball. He doesn't do as many progressive passes, but he passes. He's got a much better accuracy with his forward passing. You know, wins possession more. You know, it's like you can fight. It's up there, and that's actually because we're splitting hairs amongst these players. Equally, you've got to look at the team a player plays for. It's like the goalkeeping stats; they're very flawed, right? Because a goalie might, look at your save percentage; it's higher. Well, that's because his team gets loads of shots at it per game, but quite a lot of them are P-rollers and average shots. They're easy to catch, so therefore he's saving more. Donnarumma might only have 4 or 5 chances to save, but they're all big counter-attacks because PSG push so many players forward, so he's a bit more isolated, so they're harder to save. That's where the eye test and stats have to come in. I've said that for years. But look, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it massively. We'll see you at 5 p.m. unless there's breaking news. George, let everyone know where they can find you, brother, on YouTube.
Durag Diaries, man, on the road to 4K, real close. 2 p.m. I'll be live North Divide, so come over there, man.
Lovely. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.